But we want to.
All right. Way out in the country, it could be close to here, we don't know. There's a beautiful patch of woods with some tall trees. Okay? In these trees, there's a beautiful pond with some smooth water. When the sun shines down during the day, you can hear the birds singing and the fish swimming and the turtles splashing. And at nighttime, when the moon is shining down, you can hear the frogs singing. In this pond, there are lots of bullfrogs, and they sing all night long. The big frogs, the older bullfrogs, sing under the root, under the root. And the little new frogs that just turned from tadpoles, they sing knee deep, knee deep, knee deep. So all night long you hear, move. You hear knee deep, under the root, under the root. One of the new frogs that was there this year, his name was Freddie, and he was such a fun-loving frog. He loved to sing with his friends all night long. It was a wonderful life. The only thing that the frogs had to worry about was deep in the night, sometimes when they were singing knee deep and under the root, they would hear the soft crunch of leaves under the paws of a big old bobcat. If they heard that bobcat coming, they would jump up and kerplunk down into that water, and they would swim away. Freddie, he was so fast, he just knew that he could be better than that bobcat. So he would listen as he heard what? After I get done. He would listen if he would be singing with his friends. Knee deep, knee deep, under the root, under the root. And Freddie would hear the soft crunch of leaves. That bobcat was coming. All the other frogs would kerplunk into the water and kerplunk into the water. But Freddie would sit there and wait. He was like, I'm so much faster than this old bobcat. So at the last possible second, he would jump up super high and kerplunk into the water. Now, this went on all summer. Every night, the bullfrogs would sing to each other. You guys remember what they would say? Knee deep, knee deep, under the root, under the root. But suddenly, the weather started getting cooler. And those old bullfrogs that had been around for a long time looked at the little ones and said, fellas, winter's coming. Do you know what bullfrogs do in winter?
What?
They jump up and kerplunk into the water. Get up and go. And they swim down to the bottom, and they dig in the nice warm mud, and they sleep all winter. They hibernate until it gets warm. So, one by one, all the bullfrogs started jumping up and kerplunking into the water. And kerplunking into the water. But Freddie said, now I'm having way too much fun to go in the water and go to sleep. I want to stay up all winter. So he talked some of his other little frog friends into staying up. So they said, we're going to stay up all winter long. So all the other frogs jumped in, swam down to the bottom, and dug into the mud, and went to sleep. But Freddie and some of his friends sat up around the pond, and they kept on singing at nighttime. Knee deep,
Under the root, under the root.
Now, what happens in winter? It started to get really, really cold. And the frogs were sitting up around the pond and they were shivering because it was really cold. You know who doesn't mind the cold though?
What?
Deep in the night, they still heard soft still have to jump up and kerplunk into the water to get away. Every night, though, it got a little bit colder and a little bit colder, and Freddie's friends would say, Freddie, it's so cold. We need to go bury ourselves in the mud and sleep. And then Freddie would say, oh, it's not that bad. We're fine. We're having fun. But one by one, each of his little friends jumped up and kerplunked into the pond.
Mom.
Finally, it was just Freddie and one of his friends left. And one night they looked up, and coming out of the sky was some white, fluffy stuff. It was snowing. It was so cold, the little frogs sat around the pond, and they could hardly move. Then Freddie's friend said, Freddie, I can't do this anymore. I'm so cold. So he jumped up and kerplunked into the water, and he swam down there, buried himself, and went to sleep. Freddie said, I'm not going to give up. I'm not. He was so cold he couldn't hardly move. Then, all of a sudden, he heard those soft crunches of paws on the leaves. Oh, he was so cold. His little legs, they couldn't even hardly jump. He said, I've got to jump. I've got to make it. That bobcat's going to get me. So all of a sudden, he got enough strength and he jumped up. But instead of kerplunk, Freddie went kersplat. Because do you know what happened to that pond?
What?
When it got so cold? It was frozen. So Freddie couldn't go and swim. He was stuck on top of the water. And we don't know what happened, but the next spring, when it warmed up and the frogs came up to start singing around the pond, for the first few weeks, instead of singing, knee deep, and under the root, the frogs sang, where's Freddie? Where's Freddie? What do you think happened to him?
Yeah, ate by the bobcat.
You think so?
I think that's what